Now, at the current time you're living with your dad, and I guess during a lot of your involvement with Children's Aid you weren't living with him. Did you ever get the sense in your dealings with the Children's Aid Society workers that maybe they had, that they seemed to have a preference to one parent or the other? Did you ever sense that they liked one parent more than the other?
They like my mother because, you know, she's the native part of the problem. She's the native person, native people. It's like one culture. You're going to like the other person because they're your culture. You're going to want to talk to them, and you know. My worker is always consistent with updating my mom with everything, making sure my mom is on top of everything. She knows everything that's going on in my group home. She knows everything that's going on with me when I go to the doctor. My mom knows all of my appointments, even though I'm not in her care. They make sure that everything my mom has to say is documented in proper language to make sure that she looks good. Well, when it took them, they were 11 months late to give my dad his affidavit. 11 months. Whether or not that my dad and I had no contact at all, we were, like, legally we're not supposed to speak, he still had the right to get that paperwork, whether or not I wasn't allowed to speak to him. I am his daughter. I was still in his custody, but we were not allowed to speak at the time. It was joint custody. So what happens to me, he is legally supposed to know, and they did not tell him. They write nasty things about my father, saying I said that I was afraid of my father. I've never said that I was afraid of my father. Never. I have not said that at all about my father. My dad raises his voice and has different ways of handling situations, but I'm not afraid of him. I don't shit myself when I see him at all. Like, my dad's a very caring person, and no one takes the opportunity to know what he's all about. He's just very upset about this whole situation, and no one understands that. Everyone thinks that the situation with Children's Aid is very minor. It's not. It's a very big, major problem that needs to be dealt with. And I'm sure there's other cases out there that need a lot of help, and they're just not getting it. And anyways, back to the main point. It took them 11 months to give my dad his affidavit, but didn't take more than a day to give it to my mom. My dad didn't know I was in care until I was already in care for about 5 months. And then they asked my dad to pay $500 for me. It says in my affidavit. They want him to pay $500 monthly to give it directly to them, to give to me. No. The government's already giving you so much money to take care of me. And then you're going to ask my dad to give you another $500? So what? So that you could keep the $500 the government's giving you for me, and that my dad's money is used for me? No, 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 no. If I was under my dad's care, I understand he would give me $500. And if it came to a point that I did need $500 when I was in care, my dad would put that into my bank account, and it would go into my convenience card that I would have access to, and not Children's Aid. They treat him very, very unfairly, and it's not fair. They'll call my mom and update my mom and tell my mom when court is and see how my mom's doing when I was back with my mom temporarily. But now that I'm with my dad and I have it in writing I could stay here, they never call me to see how I'm doing. They don't call my dad to see how he's doing and how I'm behaving. They don't care. I guess it's because my dad's not native. I don't know what to think of it, but it's sad. I've seen in care, I've seen Children's Aid treat parents differently. Like, I've seen them treat, honestly, I think it's just the males in general, that they just treat fathers way less poorly than mothers. And I feel bad for single mothers that work so hard to pay for their children. You know what, your child may not have the newest pair of Nikes and the newest Jordan Fly sweater, but they have shoes on their feet, they have clothing on their back. Yeah, they may not get to have caviar, but they can have McDonald's. You know what I mean? And they still take your child away like it's unfair, and they treat fathers like they're garbage, and single mothers. It's horrible. Something needs to be done about it.